Hey everyone, Ryan Young, KAATARO Jiu-Jitsu. Hope you're doing well. You know, I always every once in a while I get an email, I get a call, I get a response to one of our videos saying, hey Ryan, when are you going to have a KAATARO Jiu-Jitsu school in our area, or when are you going to be in this certain area? Well, here we are, late January 2020, and I already know where my next trip's going to be. It's a road trip. It's going to be heading down south of Dallas. So Dallas is in what we call North Texas, so I'm going to be heading down to South Texas, South and East Texas. So I'll be going to San Antonio, College Station, Houston, and Austin. And I'll be teaching in those areas, or I'll have time. I'll make time to teach in those areas. For any school that wants to have me over for a mini seminar, I'd love to work you in on my road trip. And if we could, if this is something you want to do, then go ahead and email me at kaatarojujitsu@gmail.com and we'll make it happen. Anyway, the topic to cover today is, are you a little guy training jiu-jitsu? When I say little, I mean, everybody knows I'm a small guy. You know, you see me in real life, you go, wow, that Ryan's actually smaller than I thought he was. Yeah, I'm 5'4.5", I'm like $160. But there are some people who train, some men especially, and then women obviously, but let's just talk about men. Men who train who are about 5'2", 5'3", and weigh 135 pounds, right? I got a question from somebody, how do I train? Because you're not the average size guy. What's the average? The average height of a male in the U.S., I don't know about in the world, but in the U.S. is about 5'9.5". Right? And being 7 inches shorter than that, it kind of on the height side does make for a problem. But when you think about the weight, the average weight of a guy at 5'9.5" is probably about $170, $180. And as you get older, then the weight goes up as well. So in our campus, we've got some pretty good sized guys. You know, the average size gi in our studio in Texas, A3H to A4, right? So meaning somebody who's about 6 foot and about 200 to between 6 foot and maybe 6'3", and about 200 to 220 pounds. That's kind of right in the middle. You know, we have guys that are heavier, we have guys that are lighter, but the most common gi size that I always have to order for our students is A3 and A4. A4 probably more so actually. But anyway, that being the case, if you're an A1 or at 5'2", 135, you're probably an A0. What do you do when you're training with guys that size? You know, is jiu-jitsu even feasible? Well, first of all, jiu-jitsu is necessary for somebody your size. It just is, because that's what it's designed for. Now, as far as your training, how do you train with guys that big? It's very tough, right? I'm a little guy, but I've always trained with big guys because that was just my mentality. I'm not going to not do it because the guy is big. I've always been of the mentality, okay, I'm having a hard time dealing with this guy. So I would ask myself, how would I be able to deal with this guy? Rather than, I can't deal with this guy, I don't want to deal with this guy because he's too big. And frankly, most people would think the latter. Oh, that guy's so big, I don't want to train with him. I don't want to get hurt, right? If you're afraid of getting hurt, you're going to get hurt, by the way, just letting you know. Whereas with me, I was never afraid of getting hurt. With me, it was always, I cannot do it, but how can I do it, right? How can I? Everything I ask, how can I? How can I do this? How can I do that? How can I afford this? How can I afford that? I rarely would go, I cannot do it. It would just be, I don't want to. See, you got that person who wants to train jiu-jitsu, but they have the can't mentality. It's very difficult to be anything past a white belt and have that mentality. But on the other hand, physically, you can break, right? And that's where it's tough for me to give advice to somebody because I'm not in your shoes. I can only tell you what I think. I don't expect everybody to think like I think. All I can do is tell you that thinking the way I think, I've gotten to where I've gotten. For you who train and have that feeling that, you know, I'm just so small, I'm going to get crushed, work your way up to it. But start by training mostly with the people who are closer to your size, but don't limit yourself to that universe. You have to expand it out at some point. But don't go from training with people who are 5'5" to people who are training 6'5". You know, you don't want to make that jump. You have to go from the people who are 5'5" to 5'7", from 5'7" to 5'9", 5'9" to 6 foot. You know, and then you know, as far as weight, people who are 150, then work up to people 175, and you'll slowly start to expand what you train with. And every time you hit a certain size and you realize, I've gotten to a point where I think I've reached my limit, You have to ask yourself, is it a limit that is mental? Is it a limit that is because of your technicality? Or is it a limit because of if that person just pushes you a certain way, you will guaranteed break? So I'll give you an idea. When I was in college, I used to hit the weight room a lot. And this is before Jiu-Jitsu. And I weighed about $135 at 5'4.5". And I would typically squat for reps about 225. And one time what I did was I went from 225 to 245 and then worked up to 275. And I just remember when I had the 275 on my back, it felt unlike what it felt like at, say, 255, right? It's just 20 pounds more. But for some reason, my body just felt like something was going to shatter, right? So I just told myself, you know what? That is my physical limit. And we do have physical limits. Don't let anybody tell you that you at 135 can easily train with somebody who's at 265. That is not true. There are just certain people that you just cannot train with. But your breaking point and my breaking point and the third person's breaking point is all different. Because we all have different strengths, we have different flexibilities, we have different injuries. And also, if you have an injury, you have to learn to protect that injury so that your injury is not exposed. And because you have an injury doesn't mean you don't train. It just means that you need to know that that is an injury, that is a limitation, and you have to work around it, right? That's what I call a workaround. Right? Mine are my shoulders until I get them fixed. My shoulders are my injured spot or my sore spot. So when I train, I don't let anybody get my shoulders, right? Because if I do, then just simply locking up a Kimura without moving it or locking up an Americana without moving it will injure me. So that's my breaking point. So if you're smaller, work up to the people, as you go up and say, don't go to the biggest guy right off the bat. Especially if you're older. If you're in your 20s, you're going to be more durable than when you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s. That's for sure. Protect yourself, but try to always stretch a little bit. Try to move the boundaries out a little bit. Work in this spot, you get good, but in order for you to grow, in order for your muscles to grow, in order for your body to compensate, in order to get stronger, and not grow in height or grow in width, but in order just to grow in ability, you have to push a little bit, but don't push too far. So like I said, for me, in the weight room, it was squatting at 275. I did it for one set. I never did it again, ever. So I did it once in my lifetime. But I was okay with it. I wasn't upset about it. I wasn't trying to be a power lifter. I wasn't telling myself at some point I'm going to be able to squat 400 pounds. That was never in my life ambition. 275 wasn't even my life ambition. It was just, okay, I got it to 255. Let's try 275. Throw 2 more 10-pound plates on. Oh, no, don't like that. Put it back. So then from then on, the highest I would ever go is 255. Even then, I didn't go to 255 that often. I usually just max out at 225 and that'd be it. Same with your jiu-jitsu. Train with somebody who's bigger. See how you like it. See how it feels. If it feels like something's going to break, just tap. Don't go the entire round. Just tap and say, you know what, I'm done. And just tell the person, you know what, it's not you, it's me. It's just, I don't think I can handle your strength. I can't handle the size. I can't handle the weight, something. Just let your body tell you. On the other hand, there are sometimes that your body's just kind of, it's not on the verge of injury. It's just kind of uncomfortable. If you feel uncomfortable, just tell your body, you know what, suck it up. But like I said, if it's on the verge of injury, you need to stop right there and reevaluate, and then decide whether you want to continue on that path. So I hope that helps. Don't let being small discourage you from training with larger partners. But just know that there is a point at which you will hit your breaking point and you need to stop just shy of it. Don't try to go through it. That's not a barrier you want to try to break through. That barrier is there for a reason. Conversely, if you're a big guy and you're trying to do a lot of stuff the smaller guys are doing, you may not be able to. Try to push the envelope, but don't push to where your body's not meant to go. I hope that helps. Like and subscribe. It helps the channel. Any help that we get, I appreciate it. And I want to thank you guys for visiting, and comment below. Take care now. Happy training. Bye-bye now. Bye.